Hey, and welcome to the review of Buzzsprout podcast hosting. I am going to go through everything in the dashboard, pricing. We're going to look at their old stats and their brand new stats that are not even quite released yet. They have them basically in a preview mode, so you're going to get to see those. And yeah, let's get into it. So I have been using Buzzsprout for just about 2 years right now. And you can see right here, this is my dashboard logged in. And if I go down, you can see all the episodes all the way back to January of 2018. And so these are all the published ones. You can see the amount of plays, the duration, when they were published, all that stuff. And I think we're going to start with uploading a new episode. So I don't actually have one, but you can see kind of how easy this is to use. You can just drag a file in here or choose one to upload. So I'm going to grab, let's find something short. And you'll see it has this nice uploading process. And while that's happening, you can say, add all your info in here. And, there's different formatting options for your description or show notes here. So you can, add a link and type whatever you want. So this is great for sending people back to a website, or, if you have affiliate links you want to add in, or just other resources that you mention, or maybe you have a guest and you want to, link to their website. It's really easy to do. And you can click on this and see what the link is. So cool. We'll leave it unpublished. You can see on the right here, there's a few options: leave unpublished, publish immediately, or schedule. And you can choose a date, any date you want in the future, and also a time. And in my podcast settings, I've set Mountain Time as my default, but you can change that to whatever you like. And we'll take a look at that section in a little bit. So I'm going to leave it unpublished because this is not something, but here is a little episode summary that you can type in: episode numbers, season, whether it's explicit or not. You can set that by individual episode. And then you can also do episode artwork. You can use the default for the whole podcast, or you can choose an individual one. Cool. Save episode, and you'll see this is not live. It lets you know right up front. And what's cool is you can click right into it, and now you can see the embed player. You can actually click play here and preview all of this and see everything. And also, even before you've published this, you can grab, let's say you want to embed this on your website. I can grab an embed link and copy this code. Cool. Again, nice little preview, and go paste that into my website. Other options here are creating a, let's start from the top. Add chapter markers. So this allows you to kind of let people jump to certain points that you want. So you can add a new chapter. You can set a time. You can actually play this and, choose a certain time. Hey, there we go. So let's say it's 6 seconds or 12, and you can say chapter 1, and then you can add a URL if you want that relates to that. So create that, and now that is live. You can edit and delete them. Cool. Let's save and update that. Awesome. Now there's a transcribe option. If you're a paying customer, you can transcribe an episode for 10 cents a minute. Let's pop that open. You'll see clearly shows 10 cents a minute here, not hiding anything. You click this or this, couple options. So we're not going to do that right now, but it just shows you how easy this process is. Now, the next one for promotion here is create a video soundbite. And these might be called audiograms. They are usually little waveform things. So what you can do is set a duration here. So it goes up to 60 seconds, a minute. And you can have it start wherever you want. So let's just say that's good, and now you can see what this looks like. There's a few different options. So here is, and this has actually been improved. They used to just have one option, but now they have a few different ones. There's square, landscape, and portrait. So cool. Let's say I want that video, and then you can customize options here. So if I want some green text here, and maybe my waveform I want to be green too. Oh, it didn't save. You have to click save. That would help. Anyway, you can customize some stuff here, and let's go ahead and create that. Cool. And they're gonna just process that and let us know when it's done. And other options, sharing, emailing, you can get just the MP3 file, and then also view episode stats. But first, let's go back to all the episodes. There's not gonna be any stats on that one, so I'm not gonna show you that quite yet. And then if you need to make changes, you can go in, and this you can do either before it's published or after it's published. So if you have some more info to add, you want to add a new link here or update some of this stuff, you can go in and save that. So that's a not published episode. Here's one that is published. And now I can go in and edit that. We're not going to mess with my live podcast though. And so that is basically uploading and editing your episodes in the Buzzsprout platform. Now I'm going to jump over to podcast settings, because this is really how you get your podcast set up when you first get started. And so all this stuff you just put in once, and then you won't really need to touch it. So there's a podcast title, description, your artwork, and your categories. Your first category is actually the main one that Apple uses. So be sure and choose the most important one here, but you can see all the different categories and subcategories. And so it's good to choose 3, but the first one is the most important. And then this feature, episode limit, most people are going to want to show all episodes, but you can decide to show less than all of them if you want. Artist is your name or brand, and then the podcast type. Episodic is just it'll be in chronological order, with the newest episode being first. Serial is actually the reverse and usually used for seasons. Some other settings, like I mentioned earlier, the time zone, you can customize that so that when you go and publish your episodes, you can set them based on your time zone, so it's easy to understand what's going on. And some other things, website, support the show, and whether you want to mark your entire podcast as explicit or not. Cool. We're going to cancel and go back, but that was the podcast settings. And now we're going to go continue on to the players. So these are great to embed on a website that you already own or one that you create. So there's a individual episode player you can see here on top, and then a multiple episode player, or like a playlist player, and down here on the bottom. So I'll show you these on my website in a second, but first I want to show you there's a couple options. You can customize what is shown here. So depending on if you have different artists or different, you can only show certain tags based on what you put into your episode. So if you want to kind of customize this player, you can have several of them if you'd like. And then we're going to click customize here, and you can go in and change what's shown. So you can show a description if you want right in your embed. The progress bar you can change here. So that's this part, the kind of waveform looking thing. And let's see, artwork. You can change what's shown, so you can have no artwork if you want and just make a nice kind of clean player there. And then you can change what sharing options are shown. Oh, I gotta, under this sharing, you can see there's a couple different options here. So if I add Facebook, it'll pop up right there. and player style. So this player right here is relatively new, but there's an older one, this minimal one, if you want, and there's some other options so you can kind of uncheck or check these things to show what you'd like. Anyway, I'm gonna go back and not save that, hopefully. Awesome. So those are the embed players. Now let's go pop over to my website on Podcast Insights, the Podcasting Simplified podcast. And you can see this multiple episode player embedded right here. And you can select different episodes, play them, you do everything you want, share them. So all that stuff is in there. And then I'm going to hop over to this one, which is a single episode embed player. So I put this on individual blog posts that, that relate to the episode. So there is that one. And of course there's options to change the playback speed here, and rewind 10 seconds, go forward 30. You can view a little bit of info about it. So it's a really nice player, slick, easy to use. I'm a fan, and there's a few other, every podcast hosting company has their own player, and I think this is one of the better ones that has a lot of features and just looks good, easy to customize. So big win there. Now, this is a feature I don't really use, but the built-in website with Buzzsprout. So let's pop that open real fast and we'll take a look. So pretty nicely designed. You'll see here the same links that you've customized can show up here, and like support the show that you have in your podcast settings kind of pops up over here. And then your subscribed links are here. You can pop that open and see lots of options if you're already listed. So all this stuff kind of gets automatically updated. You can click into an individual episode, and basically you'll see that same embed player, your show notes here, all that same stuff we just looked at. Anyway, I think it looks good and not too complicated, but it works. It works well. Now you can customize some of this stuff here, your social media links. You can actually set a custom URL. So if you want it to be mypodcast.com instead of mypodcast.buzzsprout.com, you can set that up here, and you'll just have to change a CNAME record with your domain registrar like Namecheap or GoDaddy or something. It's just a quick setting you change. And if you want, you can also hide from search engines. If you have your own website and you don't want this one to be public, you can do that. And then there's some colors and background image stuff you can update as well. Awesome. Now another cool, this part I think is really cool, the directories tab. And once you kind of get everything set up and saved, you again won't have to touch this. You'll just have to focus on creating new episodes. But when you first get set up, you will need to get listed in ideally all these places so that your podcast listeners can find you. So let's click into the Apple Podcast one, and you'll see this nice kind of step 1, step 2 directions on how to submit. So, they want you to make sure you have all the info that is in your podcast settings tab. So you should have that done when you first get set up. And then what's cool is that when you click submit to Apple Podcast, you'll see down at the bottom in the URL preview, they automatically added our RSS feed. So if we click into this, mine's already submitted obviously, but we should be able to see how this works. You'll see in the URL bar, our RSS feed is already there, and then it's pre-populated. So it's a nice, just kind of smart programming, I guess, that makes this really easy for you, the Buzzsprout customer, which is really cool. And Apple's saying I can't do this because my feed is already submitted, which we know. So anyway, let's go back. And once you do that and Apple approves you, then you get your URL from Apple and you paste it in here, click save. And then when you're on your directories tab, it'll be marked as listed. And so there's instructions for each of these depending on what's needed. So you can kind of click into each one and, do what needs to be done. And then they also helpfully show other apps that use Apple Podcasts that will show you. So if I click this, it'll pop up my podcast right away. So all that stuff is pre-populated and just makes it super easy to find your show in all the places, which is really nice. And then if you want your raw RSS feed, it's right here. You can click copy. You don't have to highlight it and select it, all that stuff. So nice feature there. And I just like that it shows, that you get that check mark. It feels like you're accomplishing something. And if you're listed or not once you're in here. You don't have to guess whether you submitted to this place and whether you're listed or not. So really cool. Now let's look at resources, which is it's basically their blog and YouTube channel plus some discounts here on the right. And they are regularly publishing new blog posts and YouTube videos, and they came out with a how to start a podcast series, all kinds of stuff, which you can all find in here, which is really nice because once you're logged into Buzzsprout, you actually won't typically see the blog, and this is just a nice place to see it right inside your dashboard. Now, a new feature they just added is called the Affiliate Marketplace, and what this does is allows you to add affiliate links, and you record your own kind of affiliate intro or sales ad for your podcast. But what you can do is come in here, and they've actually worked with these companies so that you can make sure you get approved. They don't require you to have a certain amount of listeners or something like that. And then once you get your affiliate link from them, you can click save, and then what they'll do is automatically pop in your the logo and an affiliate link into your episode show notes. And you'll also see that you're an affiliate here. So I'm not sure if this will work because I haven't. I don't know. We won't worry about that. But let's go back to the affiliate marketplace, and I'm actually going to remove myself from this because I'm not. But yeah, there's a bunch of little tips on how to kind of sell these products, and then things not to say, because as an affiliate, you're not sponsored by them, and there's just some language not to use. So it's kind of nice. They show all this, and there's a few different companies, including Buzzsprout themselves, on this list. So really cool. So if you want to help monetize your podcast, affiliate marketing is a great way, and they've included it right in their platform. And there's some extra features. You can learn all about it from their blog post here too. Now let's look at the stats. So these are the old stats, which are going to be replaced very soon, maybe by the time you're watching this. So right now you can see listeners. There's a kind of an overview of your plays over time down here, most popular episodes, and recent episodes. So let's click into one of these podcast directories, and you can see over time. So it was first launched on the 14th, and then you can see the downloads over time, which is nice. But if you go to an older episode, I think you might run into an issue. Let's check. My internet is not the fastest, so we'll wait. All right, so you can see this was published on February 17th, but this chart goes back to October 31st, 2019. So you can actually see the first week or first month of the downloads on this show, and that's actually what kind of indicates how many subscribers you have, and that's what advertisers want to know and things like that. So you can see kind of recent plays, but not the first ones on your older episodes. So Let's just quickly look into some of the other tabs on the stats before we jump into the new one. Just I want to be able to show you kind of what's new and how it compares. So this is the devices. You can see different devices, mobile, desktop, and this is for the last 5 episodes. You can choose different amounts there. And then there's a locations tab, which is pretty similar. You can see all cities here. And now let's type in the special link for the new stats. All right. So this is much better. I think you get a nice headline here of how many downloads you got, but you can quickly change this to 7 days, 90 days, or all time. And you can see this is over time, but you can also do a cumulative view, so you can kind of see it climb and look at different amounts there. Awesome. And then as you scroll down, here are your top episodes. Again, top apps is listed right here. And then that same kind of overview is down here, a nice bigger view. And then what is a nice addition here is you can click straight into your stats in different platforms. So if I want to look at my stats in Spotify, it'll pop me into their dashboard where I can hop in. I'll show you this. You can see Spotify's stats, and if you click the audience tab, maybe we'll go 90 days. You can see listeners and followers over time. This spike was a giveaway I just did. Anyway, it's really nice. You can just click on these links. You don't have to kind of figure out what they are. Everything is just in your dashboard. Now let's go to the episode downloads tab, and you get this nice first 7-day bar chart. And what's really cool, I think, is this kind of lighter one that says it's less than 7 days old, so it really shouldn't be counted, but it's still shown. So you can do the same thing for 30 days, and you'll see these lighter colors, kind of transparent ones, means that it hasn't hit that 30-day threshold, so it shouldn't be quite factored into your calculation or your it's a nice visual anyway. So there's first 90 days and then all time for those. So that one feature that I was asking for, the first 30 days, is nicely shown here, which is much appreciated. And now let's click into that same episode that I had before, and you get a nice graph, much nicer view. You can easily switch between first 7 days, 30, and all time again. And then in that individual episode, you can see the top apps. There's a bunch of them. You'll see all these. And again, we have countries and cities. Nice flags next to all the cities here. Nice. They added a lot of color to this, which I think is nice. And let me see. Well, let's find. Let's find that popular episode that I looked at before. And now I can see first 30 days back in February was only 100 downloads, but I can actually see this information where I could not before. So that is very nice and a great addition. Anyway, you can see back then web browser was or I guess this is all time, but you can see for each episode how people listen. Now let's click into the apps and devices, and you still get that same filter for last 5 episodes, 10, last episode, but you also get all episodes now, and you can see the top category, app, device, and there's some different ways to display that information, which is really cool. So if I do all episodes, it switches to computer as the top category, and the embed player is my top method, which makes sense because a lot of people go to the website and click play. So you can see categories down here: computer, mobile. 15 people listened on a smart speaker, I guess. So that one's not quite as popular just yet. And we'll go to the map, which has been improved and looks a little nicer, I think. So that is Buzzsprout's podcast hosting platform. I believe I have covered everything. We went through all the episode stuff, player, website, directories, the resources they include, the new and old stats, and I guess we should look at pricing. So let's just look at their website here. So you can actually sign up for free and upload up to 2 hours each month, but know that those episodes will be removed after 90 days. So you could consider this an extended free trial, or some people just like to maybe only have new episodes up. So if you publish enough and you don't want your older ones, that can work for you. And then it goes up to $12 a month for 3 hours of upload time per month. And I really like how they do their pricing because it's based on hours uploaded instead of megabytes, which is something then you have to calculate and figure out, and it just gets confusing. And if you need to upload more, you can, of course, do that as well. And you can see everything is included with all the paid plans. And if you want, there's some additional extras. So for $6 a month, you can add some kind of higher quality stereo stuff, which not a lot of people are going to need. And then that episode transcription that we looked at is also listed here. And you are month to month, so that's their only option. There's no long-term billing or discounts. Just sign up and pay however you want. And let me go back to their platform. And there's a couple other features, I guess, that I missed. So there's podcasts. If you have more than one, you can manage them all from here. And then you can also, we didn't look at the other features in the podcast settings. So you can add additional team members. So if you have maybe an editor, you can add them, and you can see they clearly say what this person can and cannot do. And so you can add additional team members there. You can they help you back up your show, which is really cool. You know, they give you all the links. They don't try to hide this stuff from you, which I think is admirable in someone. It just makes me want to trust them more. And then even when you go to cancel, they give you options. So, you know, they show you, they give you an option to archive your show for $5 a month, which means that I believe you can't upload, but you can still keep it live and people can continue to listen and play. And then they give you the options to delete it or redirect your feed. So they give you plenty of options here if you want to cancel, which I think is awesome. So anyway, if you want to sign up for Buzzsprout podcast hosting, I'll leave a link in the description. You can get a free $20 Amazon gift card when you sign up for any of their paid plans, and that should maybe help you get a new microphone or something. But I think they are one of the best podcast hosting platforms around. As you can see, really easy to use, and I highly recommend them. So check them out.